Welcome to Brief History Conspiracy Additional. If you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing, it really does help us. So this week I am talking about storming Area 51. This is a story that started off as a joke, but has become a very successful marketing campaign. A lot of people are making a decent amount of money selling t-shirts. But it made me stop and think, is this actually a good idea? So on September 30th, over 1 million people have agreed to rock up to Area 51 and storm the facility and find those aliens. So this is the guy that started it all. His Facebook joke went viral, and then when it went past 500,000 people agreeing to attend, he says he started to get a bit nervous. Now, maybe it's my cynical side, but if he now comes out and says he's actually afraid and makes little jokes about asking the FBI not to put him on watch lists, that makes a bit more of an interesting story, doesn't it? 99% of these people aren't going. If even 1% do, there's like going to be 1,500, 2,000 people. This could actually become a thing quite quickly, and thousands of people could potentially turn up. In which case the government is going to have a situation. But let's go back, first of all, and let's talk about Area 51 and what I think is actually there anyway. Obviously Bob Lazar says that there's aliens in Section 4. We know the U2 project was developed there and flew out of there for many years. The CIA have a strong presence in this area. We know NASA have done a lot of their projects. This new X-37 flies out of there. We know the stealth program came out of there, and we also know several of the current drone projects were developed and tested at Area 51 and Area 52. But if there were ever aliens there, do we think they're still there now? My problem is that Area 51 has basically been a household name for like 30 years, so if the government have got any sense at all, which I'm afraid they do, even though that's unbelievable sometimes, things they do to us, but that they'd have moved anything that dangerous. You'd have too many people going on that base hoping to see aliens. So do I think invading Area 51 would be a good idea, or actually achieve anything? No. For a couple of reasons. I think if we do have alien craft, they wouldn't be at Area 51 anymore. Like I said, household name for 30 years. The American government probably would have either buried them or moved them. I'm thinking somewhere like Diego Garcia. It's a British island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, 1,000 miles from any other people or land, that the Americans bought off us or rented off us in 1960. There's been several conspiracy theories about this island. There's about 1,000 American troops based there. It is one of two of the major military strongholds in the Pacific for America, particularly if you wanted to bomb, say, China. For me, that would be the location. That would be somewhere you take something so sensitive as alien artifacts to a major US base 1,000 miles from anything. The American Armed Forces have about 800 bases around the world. There would be several locations where anything really sensitive like this could go that nobody would ever see. Or they'd have dug down and created an underground facility, which again, we're pretty confident they have done. We know from satellite images there's been significant amount of construction over the last 30 years or so, and it would look like that there is an underground facility. So even if we do storm Area 51, I don't actually think anybody's going to find anything. I actually think it's going to be several thousand people driving up and down a runway, wandering around the desert, getting your photos taken, because let's be honest as well, a lot of this thing is that these people are going to storm it and their machine guns are going to pop out of the ground and slaughter them, and it's going to be the Battle of Area 51. That's not going to happen. They have the right to fire if you enter this space, but they're not going to. The only thing that would be a risk is if, say, a group of people stormed a guard tower and tried to, subdue the guards or something, because then you're going to get shot. But the US government are not going to want to murder US citizens on US territory. They're not going to want to do that, particularly in large numbers. And whoever's president on that day ain't getting in next time. So what would be the alternative for the government? They lock the doors, they stay out of sight, and they take everyone's photo. Because don't get me wrong, if we invade a military base, there will have to be consequences. The government really are on a rock and a hard place. Thousands of people turn up. Their choices are to shoot them, obviously, which they're not going to do, or to try to physically stop them, which you can't do if there's 10,000 or more. You can't do that. So what are the options? You back off, you take their photos, and you arrest them tomorrow. That would be my idea. But we also have to consider the fact that the American government in particular has spent a lot of money and a lot of effort on sort of crowd control and non-lethal weapons in the last 30 years. DARPA in particular is guilty of this. They have been looking at ways to subdue large crowds for a very long time. And that is something we should actually be very worried about. Why is the government so worried about our protesting on any sort of large number that they think they need to have weapons to control that? We have things like ultrasound and different gases and things like this that are all designed to control people on large numbers. Things like sound weapons that make you puke. Things like this, but that would subdue you, that would put you on your knees and would make you wish you were dead. Sound weapons or ultrasound weapons that confuse you, or using magnetic weapons that affect the brain to cause, again, confusion and things like this. These are all things that have been worked on and developed by the American government in particular. The battle plans are being drawn up, but let's be honest, we all know one thing for dead certain. But the one thing the US government most definitely cannot allow is for people to get away with this. If they trespass on a military base, regardless of the numbers, the government cannot allow that, and there would have to be repercussions. Now, I don't think people are going to be pepper sprayed and hog-tied there and then, because if any sort of significant numbers turn up, that's not practical and it's not safe, and that's when things do go wrong. I honestly think the government will allow them to run around, drive up and down the runway, blah blah whatever. They would stop anybody that tried to actually break into any of the buildings. I think they would probably stop them trying to do that. But other than that, they would just let them run around and have a bit of a party. Take their photographs, seize their bank accounts, and arrest them tomorrow. So I said at the start of the video that this was a really clever marketing ploy. And look, shock horror, somebody's planning a festival. Now this actually, I think, would be a really cool idea, except for the fact that thousands of people getting drunk and a little overexcited this close to a base where they are allowed to shoot you doesn't seem like a very good idea. And that would be my worry, is that something will go wrong really quickly just because people get a bit overexcited. Would I want to go? Sounds like a pretty cool road trip, doesn't it? Go to Vegas for a few days, jump in the car, go hang out at Area 51, have a big bonfire, have a few beers, have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of a joke about how we're getting watched, end up on a watch list for the rest of our lives. But that would be a great weekend. Actually crossing the lines and actually going onto the base? Hell no. Okay, thanks. It's only a short video today, but I just had to go on to discuss this, didn't I, really? And I'm going to dump a bunch of the memes on at the end. And again, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.